Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're back on the dev server for Update Fire and Ice, and it's time to have a look at the Fokker D.XXI. This is a new Finnish plane that is coming to the Swedish tree in the form of a sub-tech tree for it, and it's going to be the first plane that you get access to. You have the Fokker D.XXI Series 3, a battle rating 1.7, rank 1. There's also going to be a Buffalo, which is around here, or maybe around here as well. And then you actually have a premium version of the Fokker, the D.XXI Standard. This one is the Series 3. So the difference between this and the Fokker D.XXI is not too crazy. The major difference that I can see is its armament, which is why its BR is slightly different. So the D.XXI is Series 3, which is the tech tree one, has access to 4 7.7mm FN Browning M36 No. 3 machine guns, where the D.XXI Premium has 2 20mm Oerlikon FFs and also 2 77 FN Browning M36 No. 3s. So that is just the huge difference between them. Right now, it looks like the model's exactly the same. There should be a slight difference between them, of course, when it comes to what their guns look like. But right now, that doesn't actually seem to be the case. So you can see here, you got the 20mm Oerlikons, and then also the center-mounted 7.7s. And then the D.XXI, you have what look exactly like the 404s, and then just like that. So I think the model has just been straight up copied from the dev server right now. So I'm sure this will change over time as we go forward. They both use the Bristol Mercury 8 engine with 712 horsepower and 755 takeoff power on the vehicle. Has access to an oil cooling system, a fuel tank, and also the pilot himself. There's not too much to really write home about this vehicle. It's kind of a fighter. It doesn't have access to any secondary weapons, and since it only has 7.7mm, it's going to be super hard to be able to do a ton of damage to anything on the ground. From an air superiority point of view, my time in the D.XXI has told me that these machines are very maneuverable, but also lose energy pretty quickly. So you have to pick your battles pretty efficiently in a vehicle like this, because if you don't, you'll end up just dying. You'll be run out of energy super quickly, and then one of the meta vehicles will just swoop in and just batter you over the head. The 20mm basically meant that if you faced anything, that if you got a good hit in, then it was easy for you to win the battle. With only 7.7s, it's going to be a little bit harder to do, and you're going to have kind of the Japanese treatment, where you're going to be sat there, you know, rice cannoning it up for an incredibly long time. It's still super nice, though, to see the D.XXI as a vehicle in the game, just like how it is really nice to see all of these vehicles for the good old Swedish in the form of the Finnish vehicles. I hope they continue with these things, just because sub-tech trees are always a really nice idea. There's something which means that you can have, you know, multiple nations of vehicles in the same place, and also means that you won't have problems with lineups or anything like that. And the D.XXI is definitely one of those vehicles. It also means that if you were personally interested in the D.XXI and you didn't get access to it, then you can now just research it. And, you know, it's still different to the 20mm one, so at least the premium guys are getting something slightly different. But if you just wanted to feel what it was like in games and just have a bit of fun with the Finnish vehicles, you can do that as well. It does get access to war emergency power, so can burn out the engine pretty quickly if you want to. And as I said, it's a pretty maneuverable aircraft. You can just kind of chuck it around, and it doesn't lose too much energy in the overall turns and everything like that. The main problem you're going to have is the fact that it can't retract its landing gear, so its drag's going to be super high compared to everything else. And as you go lower in BR, one of the things, at least for me, that happens quite a lot, since I mainly play realistic, is the herd kind of thins out at the lower tiers. So you get the meta stompers turning up and just annihilating everything, like stuff like the HE100, the BF109E1, the CW21. before it was moved up in BR, and then stuff even like the P40. So as long as this thing fights at its BR, I think it'll be completely fine. In arcade, it'll work really well with whatever vehicles are around it for the Swedish and for the Finnish. But in something like the realistic portion of the game, I think it's going to struggle quite a lot just because of its lack of engine power. And if you ever go up against somebody who knows what they're doing, and yes, I understand, like at the lower tiers of the game, that's generally not going to happen that much. But one thing has to be understood, now once it does happen, then you'll just die an incredibly painful death. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Forge, Siegebreak, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, and also Sem Arslan, Wilkski, Uncle Bean, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.